What would you do if you discovered that the scars on a body could hold the darkest secrets of a murder? Today, I'm going to tell you the unsettling story of the collection of scars, a tale that takes us to the darkest corners of the human mind. Imagine a forensic pathologist, a seemingly ordinary man, dedicated to his work with a fervor that only the truly passionate can understand. Over the years, he has examined countless bodies, each with its own tragic story. However, there is something peculiar about him, something that his colleagues and the police are unaware of. In the solitude of his home, away from prying eyes and the strict rules of forensic medicine, he keeps a macabre collection: scars. These are not just simple pieces of cut and preserved skin. Each scar is a silent witness to an unsolved crime, a secret buried under layers of tissue and years of oblivion. Every night, upon arriving at his lonely apartment, the forensic pathologist carefully opens an old wooden trunk, revealing dozens of glass jars. Inside each one, fragments of skin marked by scars float, meticulously labeled with names and dates. This is not merely a collection of horrors. To him, these scars are pieces of a puzzle that begs to be solved. Each one whispers a story of pain, of suffering, of lives abruptly and violently cut short. One night, after a long day at work, the forensic pathologist sits at his desk, illuminated only by the dim light of a lamp. He takes one of the jars, the most recent addition to his collection. The label reads, "Jane Doe, May 11th, 2024. With great care, he extracts the fragment of skin and examines it under a magnifying glass. The scars tell a story. A young woman, possibly in her 20s, who suffered multiple defensive wounds. As he analyzes the patterns, his mind reconstructs the crime scene, filling in the gaps with his vast experience and almost supernatural intuition for unraveling mysteries. The forensic pathologist cannot help but feel a deep connection with his victims. In his mind, he gives them a voice and, in a way, a form of poetic justice. He knows that the scars are the key to solving what traditional evidence could not. However, there is something that even he cannot explain. A cold shiver that runs down his spine every time he works on a new case, as if the souls of the dead are trying to communicate with him from beyond, demanding to be heard, pleading for justice. The scars of Jane Doe reveal a pattern that seems familiar. Searching through his notes and comparing them with scars from previous cases, the forensic pathologist finds a connection to an old case from 2018. Another Jane Doe, same defensive wounds, same unknown attacker. The revelation shakes him to his core. This is not an isolated case, but the work of a serial killer who has eluded the police for years. The forensic pathologist realizes that he holds the key to stopping this monster, but he also knows that revealing his collection could mean the end of his career and, perhaps, his freedom. Nevertheless, the weight of the victims' souls and the urgency to stop the killer drive him to act. Secretly, he sends an anonymous letter to the police, detailing the connections between the cases and providing clues that only someone with his knowledge could identify. The hunt begins, and while the authorities investigate, the forensic pathologist continues to collect scars, hoping for the day when all the pieces of the puzzle will fit together and the truth will come to light. The narrative becomes increasingly intense, with the forensic pathologist playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse with the killer, with neither knowing the other's identity. Each new body that arrives at the morgue is another piece of the disturbing puzzle. The forensic pathologist becomes an obsessive detective, deciphering the signs that others overlook. While his collection grows and his obsession deepens, the city begins to whisper about an angel of death, a specter that watches from the shadows and leaves its mark on the bodies of the unfortunate. With each new body that arrives at the morgue, the forensic pathologist feels the pressure and responsibility increase. He begins to obsess over finding hidden patterns, spending entire nights examining the scars under different lights and magnifications. He spends hours reviewing old files, looking for any connection that might have been overlooked. His health starts to deteriorate, and his colleagues notice that something is wrong, but he cannot stop. He feels he is close to something big, something that will change his life forever. One fateful evening, he stumbles upon a scar that he recognizes immediately, not from an anatomy book or an old morgue file, but from his own past. It is a scar that he himself inflicted years ago, during a dark period of his life. This discovery forces him to confront a devastating truth. The killer has been closer than he ever imagined. The scar is a personal message, a macabre invitation for a final encounter. With his heart pounding, the forensic pathologist follows the clues that lead him to a face-to-face confrontation with the killer. The tension reaches its peak as the pieces of the puzzle finally come together, revealing a truth even more sinister and disturbing. In that moment of confrontation, the forensic pathologist realizes that the collection of scars not only tells the story of the victims, but also his own. It is a reflection of his own inner demons, his own sins, and his desperate search for redemption. The confrontation is brutal and unforgiving. The killer turns out to be someone the forensic pathologist knew well, an old friend from university with whom he had lost contact years ago. The revelation is an emotionally devastating blow. The killer had been watching the forensic pathologist all this time, playing with his mind and his life. With a mix of fear and determination, the forensic pathologist fights for his life, using everything he has learned from his studies and forensic experience to survive. In a climactic moment, the forensic pathologist manages to wound the killer, leaving a deep mark on his arm, a scar that will serve as a reminder of that night. Finally, the killer is captured, and the forensic pathologist provides the police with all the necessary evidence to convict him. However, the victory is not sweet. The forensic pathologist is left scarred, both physically and emotionally, by the experience. The scars on his body now serve as a reminder not only of his struggle, but also of the horrors he has faced. As he recovers, the forensic pathologist decides to abandon his macabre collection. He realizes that while it was useful in catching the killer, it was also consuming him. He begins to work with the police officially, using his vast knowledge and experience to help solve cases without resorting to such dark methods. However, the scars remain, both on his skin and in his memory. Over time, the forensic pathologist finds a new way to connect with the victims. He starts writing a book about his experiences, using his knowledge and information from his former collection to tell the stories of those who can no longer speak. His goal is to give them a voice, to offer a form of poetic justice, and at the same time, to exorcise his own demons. The story extends, showing how the forensic pathologist collaborates with other experts in criminology, sharing his findings and helping to create more accurate profiles of serial killers. His book becomes a success, and although he faces criticism for his unorthodox methods, he also receives recognition for his dedication and his ability to solve seemingly impossible cases. In the climax of the story, the truth is revealed in the most unexpected way, leaving the audience with a chill down their spine and a question that resonates in the silence. What secrets do you hide in your own scars? The conclusion invites the audience to reflect on the weight of the past and the marks we carry, both physical and emotional. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to follow our channel for more stories filled with mystery and horror. Give it a like, leave a comment about what you thought of the story, and share it with those who also enjoy a good scare. Until next time, and may the secrets of your own scars not keep you awake at night.